Hey, thank you. So the first question, Congresswoman, is about refugees. We partner currently in our work with Refugee One. And since some of our Illinois voters are refugees and many more are their descendants, and there are still Jews who remember well the lessons of the Holocaust, we know that all of us, except for Native Americans, are immigrants. We would like to know your positions on two different issues. The first is increasing the number of Syrian refugees who've been properly vetted by the U.S. State Department, and the second is your position on providing a path to citizenship for undocumented people already in the United States who have no criminal record.
Thank you. Well, first off, just want to say thank you to the Chicago Sinai congregation for doing this event. I very much appreciate the opportunity to be here. Let me start with the refugee question. Right off the top, I think that we should admit with a goal of 200,000 total refugees, 100 from Syria, with the ability, tied to the ability of us to fully vet the refugees who are coming. I've attended numerous briefings from the FBI director, the CIA director, the State Department, and the Department of Homeland Security, all of whom have said we are fully able to vet the refugees that are coming into the country. This is where my opponent and I have some basic differences, and you'll probably have seen many of the negative commercials being funded, not by him, but by super PACs, attacking me on this issue. And one of the things that's happening is there's a misquote that is happening on the other side that says we are not able to vet the refugees, saying that the FBI director said this. That is a misquote. You can actually look up the Washington Post, the Chicago Tribune. All of the agency heads actually say we are fully able to vet. It's an 18 to 24-month process. My position on this comes from two places, a humanitarian one and a national security one. Look, I didn't serve in the military for 23 years to ever do anything that would put America in danger. But I also served for 23 years to defend the basic values of who we are as a nation. And we are not a nation that turns its back on children drowning in the Mediterranean Sea. We are not a nation that turns its back on people who are fleeing butchers and murderers. We have it in the past, and we cannot let that ever happen again. And we're here now, today, need to take those lessons from World War II and from previous generations and apply them. That doesn't mean that we don't do what is right and do our dutiful vetting, which we should be doing. And so we should increase funding for Homeland Security and FBI and CIA. And I voted to do so. I voted to increase the biometric screenings, the database management, all of that. But that said, if we're to lead the world when it comes to issues of war and peace, and if it comes to issues of the refugees, we cannot be behind the rest of the world when it comes to the humanitarian aspect, and also taking some of these refugees. We take far fewer than many of the other nations. Here's the other part of it that's from the Homeland Security aspect. One of ISIS's greatest tool is propaganda. The reason that ISIS is able to recruit, and the reason that ISIS is also able to foster homegrown terrorists in this country is because they are selling a brand of propaganda that says this: America hates Islam, America hates Muslims, and America will turn its back on you. You cannot trust America because America's word is not good. And if we turn our back on the refugees, then we are allowing ISIS to have that point, that talking point for their propaganda machine. And frankly, I don't care to leave more kids to grow up in refugee camps, to be vulnerable to ISIS propaganda, to grow up to be the next generation of insurgents, like the one who shot my helicopter down. Because the next generation will shoot down future American helicopters and those of our allies in the Middle East. And so there's a twofold aspect of this. There's the humanitarian aspect, and who we are as a nation, what values we stand for, and what we have learned from our own history. And there's also the practical aspect of national security. All of our national security experts say they can vet, and if they need more money to vet, then we will vet. This is an 18 to 24-month process, and it is incredibly secure. And I want to be there in the Senate to make sure that we keep that process secure, that we don't turn our backs. I mean, I think about, I have a 23-month-old baby girl. I had her at 46, thank God. Yeah, very much a gift from the heavens. But I imagine somebody telling me, Tammy, you go home right now and you grab that precious baby girl that you waited 10 years for, and you pack her up and everything that you can own, but only what you can carry, and you trek across continents. And then when you get to the ocean or the sea, you put that baby in a dinghy and you float her into the ocean, because that is safer than where she is right now. And this congregation knows this history because the Jewish people went through this. This congregation knows this history because you have been there to help when it came to the Vietnamese boat people. And this congregation understands in a way that many people don't. And so I ask you to don't buy into the fear-mongering, because the fear-mongering is what is being sold, and that fear-mongering is going to result in policies that weaken us as a nation in terms of our values, but also in terms of our national security, because it will put American fighting men and women who are on the front lines in harm's way. And so I support, as I said, allowing the refugees to come, fully vetting them, fully supporting with the money needed to fully vet them, and with a goal of 200,000 total refugees, 100,000 of whom from Syria.